Is your PUBG mobile game struggling? Do you want to hit shots like this? Oh!
Did you just get that?
Oh. Well then today's your lucky day because my name's Hot Jukes.
So is that the Hot Jukes from PUBG Mobile?
Hot Jukes that we used to be.
And this is the first part of an entire series I'm creating just for you guys to teach y'all how to play just like a PUBG Mobile Pro. And there's no better place to start than to show you guys the best settings all the pros use to play PUBG Mobile. Let's jump in the game and get this video started. Transition. Alright guys, let's get started. So I just created a brand new account just for this video. Also, as you can see, I have my hands down right here so you can see exactly where I'm pressing so you don't get lost. By the way, I'm doing this on a brand new OnePlus right here. This is a bad boy. By the way, guys, make sure you have me followed on Twitter because really soon I'm going to be releasing a brand new channel that's going to be reviewing different types of devices just for games like this, dedicated for mobile gamers. So, all right, now having said that, let's jump into the video. So you're going to want to go ahead and start by hitting the settings tab, which is right here on the bottom right. Now we're going to go to the graphics tab. Now, this is something that every single person needs to change immediately. Go to your graphics, make sure you have it set to smooth, and have your frame rate set to extreme. This will make the game experience 1,000 times better if you had it to anything else. Every single pro player has it set to this. From there, you're gonna go down to style. Personally, for my eyes, I like colorful. I think it looks way better. Some people, some pros have it on set to movie. Personally, I think colorful is better for me when it comes to spotting. I like colors. Once you have that set, you're gonna go down and go ahead to anti-aliasing. You wanna have that enabled. And shadows, wait. Speaking of shadows, today's video is sponsored by Raid Shadow Legends. All right, guys, so let me be real with you really quick. So Raid Shadow Legends hit me up to sponsor one of my videos. I may have been a little hesitant at first because I never played it before, but I said, you know what, let's give it the old college try because I've been hearing about this game everywhere. So I hopped in the game and started recording it just, you know, get a little gameplay for this video. And guys, I ended up playing for nearly 4 hours long. So I'm telling you guys, this game is the real deal, and it makes sense why it's got over 300,000 reviews on the Google Play Store. Boy, you can collect over 400 champions. My personal favorite is gonna be my War Priest right here, because you know, she'll give you a little bit of a blessing, and then boom, come get you. As well as explore over 1 million different ways to build them. This game has got it all, including epic boss fights. All right, he survives. One more time. We're gonna beat this dragon. We beat the dragon, let's go! A fully voiced story campaign, and if you dare, you can attempt to claim glory in the PvP arena. So don't miss out and download Raid Shadow Legends right now for the low price of free! And if you think that's a good price, click the link in the description down below and you'll get 50,000 silver and an epic champion for free. Now that's what we like to call a screaming deal. So hop in the game, add me at Hot Jukes, and I'll see you guys in the battlefield. Let's go. All right, let's get back to business and let's go down and make sure our brightness is set all the way to 150%. This will make it a lot easier for you to spot people in the game. Now, if you're playing a fog match, you may want to go into your settings and turn that down so you can spot people a lot better. Going down, you want to go to non-standard screens, requires restart. Personally, I think that you should always have this set to normal. That'll give your screen a lot more room to play with. If you use notched or rounded corners, it'll bring your screen in and it won't allow you to move your buttons around bigger. So leave that at normal. Auto adjust graphics, we're going to go ahead and leave that enabled as well, and just make sure that you hit OK. All right, so let's get started with the basic settings tab. The first button that we're going to talk about is aim assist right over here. Now there's quite a bit of controversy around this button, whether you should have it disabled or enabled. The reason being is that when sometimes you have multiple enemy players that are grouped up, the aim assist will kind of freak out and totally screw your shot up. But this button can also be huge in a lot of situations. For example, let's say you have an enemy player laying down in the grass or behind a smoke. When they move, sometimes the aim assist will guide you a little bit towards them so you can find out where they are. Now, in my opinion, if you're just starting out or trying to get better, I really think that you should have this aim assist button disabled. That'll make you as a player much, much better with your own shots. Personally, what I do is I have this disabled majority of the time. Now, come late game, where I think I'll need it, I'll actually go into my settings tab in the game and turn that on really quick. All varies on what you play, but for the most part, I think that you should have it disabled. The next button we're going to talk about is peek and fire. Now this one, there's no question, you want to have this enabled. This allows your character to lean left and right in the game, which is huge for the majority of situations. Next from there, you're going to want to go ahead and enable peek and open scope. Now this button here allows you, the second you hit that lean button, it'll lean your character and open the scope as well. Now there are some professional players that have this disabled. In a later video, I'll expand on that and tell you why that is. But for the most part, and if you're just starting out, you're going to want to make sure you have that enabled. Now for the next button, we're going to go ahead and go into lean mode. I like to personally leave this right on tap. So what that means is I have to hit the button for my character to lean and then hit it again for it to come back. Now some people like it on hold, where you have to hold the button down for your character to lean, and then once you let go, it'll automatically bring your character back. Now I used to have it on mixed, which allows you to do both. But what I find is in a recent update, it can get a little bit messy with that button and sometimes leave your character stuck in and stuck out. So personally, I like to leave it on tap, and I think you should as well. Next one is we're going to have the scope mode. That one you leave on tap, no questions asked. All right, now that we got this finished, let's go ahead and scroll down a little bit and talk about gyroscope. This button is absolutely huge. When turned on, it allows you to aim by tilting your phone up and down, left and right. So majority of pros, nearly everyone that I know of, has this turned on because when you're shooting, you can control the recoil by simply tilting your phone down rather than having to pull your thumb down. Now in a later video, I'll teach you guys how to use gyroscope to the best of your ability and become a professional gyrocologist like myself. But for now, we're going to want to go ahead and make sure that we have this turned on. So you have two different options, scope on and always on. The difference between the two being that scope on, whenever you're aimed down your sights, the gyroscope will kick in and you can control the recoil like this. Always on being that it is always on. If you're running straight and you do this, your character is going to start leaning right. Having said that, I think that you should just try it out with scope on at the start, because always on gets really confusing and will really annoy you. So start off by using it scope on so you can get used to it, and then once you go ahead and get used to that, see if always on is for you. But no matter what, you want to use gyroscope when you're scoped in, so make sure you have this button pressed. As we go down from there, we want to make sure, of course, that, auto open doors are enabled, play emotes are enabled, healing prompt. Now you have the jump and climb button that combine or separate. This is a new feature that if you have it separate, it creates a whole nother button that's just meant for climbing up into things. Now in my experience, I had the same dang issues trying to get into a window, whether they're separate or combined. So for me, to save screen space, just go ahead and leave it on combined. Next, we're going to have our first person perspective camera view. Now this button is really, really huge, and it's dependent on the device that you're playing and how good your eyes are. What this means is that when it's maxed all the way up, your character is allowed to see more field of view from side to side. Now, the penalty of that is that anything in the center is going to be further away. And I'll show you that right now. Okay, so we're in a game. Let's go ahead and go to our settings tab and take a look at the first person perspective camera view. Now let's start it all the way down to 80. Now as you can see, this is what it looks like right here in first person. Now let's say we're trying to go ahead and shoot at somebody that's on top of this roof right here. So we're aiming in, and this is the vision that you have. We'll go ahead and unscope right now so you can go ahead and see that. Now let's go back to the settings, go all the way down and raise it up to the top. See the difference? Now my character can see both windows on the side, but here in the center, it's a little bit further away. So depending on the device you have and how good your eyes are, you're going to want to play with the setting a little bit. If you're on an iPad, for example, it's so big, it doesn't matter. You want this all the way turned up so you can see the most you possibly can. If you're on a smaller device, you're gonna probably wanna turn that down a little bit so you can spot better up ahead. So now let's say that I'm trying to go ahead and shoot a player on the top of this hill here. If I go to my settings tab and I have this all the way turned down, as you can see, the people on the hill will look much bigger and I'll be able to shoot them a lot easier. For example, I got a person coming to me right now. Get out of here, boys. So basically, having this turned up higher is better if you're raiding a house or things like that, because you're gonna be able to see more inside of it. But if you're shooting people on top of a hill or trying to spot them, a little bit lower is better, as you're gonna be able to see things closer and aim better. So you're gonna wanna play with this button and find out what works best for you. Personally, I like to leave it somewhere around 90. My eyes aren't the best, so I need to get a little bit closer so I can spot people better. Okay, so now that we have that set, everything else down here, we're just going to leave as is. Nothing you really need to change down here. Now that we have that done, we're gonna go down to controls. Now this tab requires its own video. Guys, I'm gonna be showing you the best control layouts that I can possibly come up with for this game. So make sure that you are subscribed and hit that notification bell so you can see my detailed guide on the controls tab. So we're gonna go ahead and skip that for now and move down to vehicle. So this setting is going to be completely preference on whatever helps you drive the best. Majority of players like to keep it right there on number 1, simple arrow down left and right, and you have to kind of tap it and press it to make sure that you're driving correctly. Personally, I like to have it here on the wheel. It gives me a few more options, and I drive the best using that, so I'll stick with that. So when it comes to music, as much as I love to listen to some good old Vicente Fernandez in the car, in-game we're going to have it disabled. The reason being that when you're driving, you want to be listening for footsteps and make sure you're fully aware. So the music can kind of mess with that and also get you copyright strike. So yep, disable. Now that we're done with vehicle, we're going to go down to sensitivity. And again, guys, this is a tab, much like controls, it requires its own video, which I will be putting out within the next week. So stay posted and make sure you check that out. Alright guys, just like the controls tab, the sensitivity tab requires its own video. So guys, I'm going to be doing a full in-depth guide on sensitivity, what the best settings are, why pros have them set to different ways, what you should set it at if you're just starting out. So make sure you're subscribed and hit that notification bell because that is going to be a big one. So, but for now, if you want to go ahead and set yours to mine, this is what they are. All right, now let's go down to pickup. Now here you must have auto pickup enabled. I don't care what any pro player says, this is absolutely huge. With that, you're able to double loot, which I'll show you in another video how to do, and that makes you like a dang Hoover vacuum, picking up everything lightning fast, a must have. So yes, auto pickup enabled, auto pickup pistols, why not? Everything out there enabled and you'll be set. Now from there, we're gonna go ahead and scroll down, and the great thing about this is you can actually manually set how much of a certain item that you auto pick up. Personally, I think that your 5.5 weapons should be around 300 rounds. The M416 is right now the best gun in the game of PUBG Mobile, and you're gonna need rounds for it. So let's go ahead and make sure that you have the M4 set to 300, and you can set the other 5.5 weapons up to that as well. Now the AKM is a great gun for up close, but since you wanna use your M4 as your primary gun, most likely you're gonna need more rounds of that, and to save bag space for your AK, I think 120 rounds is more than enough to get the job done. Going all the way down, you're gonna wanna go ahead and check, you see your med kits, first aids, bandages, energy drinks, painkillers, and syringe. This is the way I have it currently set up for competitive. I think that that's a perfect amount that you need. Some players on the team require a lot more. I think if you're just starting out, this is a pretty good way to start. Going up, you're going to go to marksman rifles. You're going to go ahead and look down here. Now, for my personal role in the game, I'm much more of a bolt-action automatic gun player, so I don't really need to have this set to a lot of ammunition. The VSS, if I have to use it, I have it set to 200. You can always drop ammo or pick up more. This is purely for auto pickup reasonings, and I think that this is just fine. Moving down to sniper rifles, this is when this is my home and love, baby. Now, if you're watching and learning from a lot of other pro players, you're going to want to go ahead and set this all the way down to 500 because they can't hit the blind side of a barn. Now, if you're watching my videos and learning from me, you ain't going to need more than 30 rounds because we hit those. So let's go ahead and turn that down to 30. By the way, if you know you're watching Powerbang's videos, you only need like 10, man. I mean, 10 shots, 10 kills. He's insane. Okay, from there, let's go to SMG. Personally, I like to leave them all at 180. We're looking for an M4 anyway, but just in case, go ahead and set it to that. That's going to be set for you. Shotguns, 20 rounds is usually good enough for what you need. LMG, personally, I like to keep this on the M249 around 240 because you need a ton of rounds if you get that gun. DP, 180, you should be set with that. Pistol, who cares about pistols? Now we're going to go ahead and go to others. Crossbows, you're going to leave it at 10. Wait, RPG? That's new. Psh, boy. All right, now that we're at scope, you're going to go down and make sure you have your quick scope switch enabled. This will bring up an option that when you press it, will allow you to switch scopes on your gun much faster than ever before. Really important, make sure you have this enabled. Personally, for no scope, I like the white crosshair. It works for me. It's what I'm used to. Some players like to go ahead and keep it otherwise. Personally, just leave it white for me. Now that we're in red dot sight, personally, I like to leave the crosshair color red and the crosshair style at the circle. It's what I'm used to. I've tried other ones and it just didn't work for me. Now, a lot of pros have gone and switched to the triangle here and it works out for them. This is all preference, guys. If that works better for you, switch it to that. If you like the dot, whatever. This is all personal preference, guys. Again, this is what I use, but hey, your mileage may vary. From there, we're gonna go to holograph sight, which we leave at red. My 2X and 3X, I like green. It's just different. It works for me. Now that we're in audio, guys, this is purely dependent on your headphones and how loud you have your volume in game. But just to give you a heads up for you new guys, here on the bottom left, this is how you change the volume of your personal microphone. And if you go over here to speaker, this will change how loud the other players are sounding to you. So if the players are too loud and you can't hear footsteps, you're going to want to go ahead and lower this down a little bit. But again, it's up to you and what works for you. From down there, you're going to go down to downloads. Sometimes it'll actually have a resources pack that you go ahead and collect. And with that, put your phone down and give yourself a round of applause because you've officially set your settings to the best for PUBG Mobile.
Baby, I'm ballin'.
For all you homies that stay to the end of the video, I'm going to show you a super advanced setting that you guys need to change. What you're going to want to do is you're going to go ahead and go down all the way to the bottom left to the smiley face. You're going to go ahead and go to manage. From there, you're going to want to go all the way down. You're going to exit out of all this. You're going to go down into your voice tab, which is right here, third one down. From there, you have different settings that you can change for your voice. So once you get to the voice command settings here, there's actually 2 voice commands that actually put real marks inside the game. You have enemies ahead and I got supplies. Enemies ahead, anytime you click that, wherever you're pointing to, it'll put a yellow triangle right onto them so you can mark where other enemies are for your team. Next, you have I got supplies. So whenever you look at an item, you click on that and it'll put a mark in game so it'll help your teammate be able to find the supplies that you're trying to get them. Personally, I like to disable all the other ones because there's no need to have it. And I like to put my enemies ahead all the way to the top and I got supplies on the bottom. Because when you see the wheel in game, you can just simply flick it up to do enemies ahead and flick it down to I got supplies. If you don't change the setting like this, if you flick it to the left a little bit of left to the right, it'll give you a totally different one, and that's terrible to have inside of a competitive PUBG Mobile game. So this is a really, really high-tech setting, guys. Not a lot of people know about it. So guys, again, like the video. I love you guys, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.